Brandon Noel Keith, James Bond 007 in Agent Under Fire, November 21st, 2016. Page 1. We open on Whisper's Red Hair Salon. Emma, a red-headed beauty with an English accent, is before a bearded gentleman in one of the customer seats. Emma.
Here is a fresh brush, just for you.
Emma runs her fingers over the brush's bristles in a seemingly successful act of relaxation. Emma.
Natural bristles, and a lovely wooden handle.
Emma begins to tap on the wooden handle. She lowers the brush and pulls up a jar of shaving cream. Emma.
Here we have sandalwood, a luxurious shaving cream. This is by Taylor's Old Bond Street, an old company established in 1854. Only the best.
She sets the jar down and pulls up a razor. Pans to the man in the chair. It's James Bond. Emma.
Can I just do your mustache first?
Bond. You can do me all you want. Emma leans back, taken aback, but only at first, a sexy smile now. Some time later, a shaved James Bond steps out of the back room through the doorway left open. Emma is buttoning up her shirt, hiding her black bra and cleavage. She stares as Bond leaves. Page 2. James Bond, out in the street, enters his BMW. The door is slammed shut behind him. Inside, he takes a quick look at his shaven face, caressing it with his right hand. A slight grin before his right hand extends the index finger and presses a button on the central control panel. M. Voiceover message.
007. The CIA has come to us for assistance. It appears one of their agents, Miss Zoe Nightshade,
M. Continued.
recently sent out a distress signal.
Bond looks over the images as they appear on the control panel. One of Zoe herself. M. Continued.
Since you are already on location in Hong Kong, we saw this as an opportunity to help out our American friends.
M. Continued.
Nightshade was investigating a research firm known as Identicom, headed by a man known as Nigel Block. The CIA believe that Identicom is a front for a massive smuggling ring dealing in biological weapons.
Bond. Oh dear. Bond starts up the BMW. Down the street a ways, the BMW moves forth. Agent 007 on his way per M's orders. Page 3. M. Voiceover message.
In Nightshade's last report, she informed us that Identicom was taking considerable measures in transport unprotected vials of some unknown substance. Nightshade was to obtain one of their courier cases and have its contents analyzed. But her mission was compromised. You need to retrieve that courier case, 007, and rescue Miss Nightshade.
Bond looks out at the complex ahead. Q. Voiceover message. Now pay attention. The glove box automatically opens to reveal Bond's toys. Q. Continued. I provided you with a high-tension grapple line I call the Q-Claw. Use this device as you deem necessary. You'll also carry the Q-Laser, which emits a powerful beam of coherent light. Q. Continued. Capable of slicing through metal alloys commonly used in locks. A helicopter overhead, a beautiful and sunny sky, with puffy clouds here and there. The helicopter lands as an armed guard stands by an open door. A mail carrier departs from the chopper with the courier case. He heads up a small set of steps and enters the complex. The guard turns away as the door closes. The chopper leaves. Page 4. Bond peeks over the edge to see the guard has vanished. He climbs up now, standing tall. With the entry closed, Bond pulls his Q-Claw and grapples an air vent directly above. He glides up to the roof as the line pulls him. From this rooftop, across a catwalk now, down an air shaft and into the complex. Bond finds himself in a room full of wooden crates. He turns to the doorway as male voices, probably of guards, are heard. He sneakily creeps back and ducks behind one of the large crates. He spies on a pair of guards passing by. Elsewhere, another guard is about to fall asleep, lounging in his chair, staring at the monitors, but not really looking. The sound of the elevator descending and the guard doesn't budge. The door is open, the sound of footsteps making their way right for him, but the guard still doesn't budge. He slowly looks up and is faced with a gun barrel. Guard. Oh, phew. The silenced pistol fires. James Bond gracefully walks away as the guard topples back off his chair, dead. Bond approaches a locked gate. He pulls out his Q-Laser and cuts the lock with ease. Down a glass tunnel, with greenery on the outside of each side. Bond moves down the tunnel. Down a nearby hall, a guard walks around the corner. He gasps at the sight of Bond, but is shot dead before he can grab his gun. Page 5. Bond picks up an automatic rifle and heads into the next room. More guards are rushing in and firing back in a more frantic state. Bond hides behind plantrows as the bullets fly past him. He returns fire, shooting dead 2 of the 4 instantly. The other 2 keep firing, and Bond dives into a little storage room. A grenade pin is pulled, and one of the guards throws it into the room. Bond spots it and sweeps it back with his left foot. The guard stares stupidly at it before it explodes, killing them. A moment later, Bond finds himself on a lower level. He steps upon a catwalk and looks down upon a submarine. Nigel Block steps up to Zoe Nightshade, who is tied to a subpipe, hands behind her back. Block, don't lie to me. I know you're a spy. Now call off your compatriot. Back to Bond spotting a sniper guard. 1 shot later, and the sniper arches back, losing his rifle. He stumbles back and falls off the catwalk, over the rail and splattering on the ground far below. He didn't even know Bond was there. But now Nigel knows. Nigel runs for his life. Bond attaches the Q-claw to the rail and swings down, face to face with Zoe. Zoe.
Hurry.
2 more guards rush in. They open fire and miss. Bond fires right back and doesn't. Page 6. Zoe.
Ugh. Am I glad to see you?
Bond cuts Zoe's lock with the Q laser and she's freed. Zoe.
Thank you.
Zoe leads Bond away, but soon thereafter they turn to more guards on their way towards them. Now they open fire with their auto rifles. Zoe and Bond creep into an elevator as Bond fires back at them. The elevator doors close and they're safe at last. Zoe.
I don't know how to thank you.
Bond. I'm sure we'll think of something. A far shot of the complex. Bond's BMW is driving away from it now, down an empty street. Suddenly, a helicopter is in pursuit. Bond pops out of the sunroof. Bond. Looks like we have company, Zoe. Keep a firm grip on the wheel. I'll hold them off. He loads the auto rifle. Bond opens fire as the helicopter does a flyby. Into the city, with buildings surrounding them. A gunner in the helicopter has just begun to fire back when he's shot out of the chopper by Bond. Then the back of the helicopter explodes and it goes spiraling downward before it crashes. Into heavier traffic now, Zoe behind the wheel of the BMW. Bond still emerging from the sunroof, spotting a speedy couple of cars gaining on them. Page 7. Zoe.
They're on our tail.
Bond empties the auto rifle into one of the 2 cars as a gunner pops out of his own sunroof. The gunner's shots don't even come close, as the front of the car is dented badly. The side of the enemy car now full of holes, and the car tips over and skids along the street, out of the game. The BMW comes up on 2 parked cars. A thug with a rocket launcher fires his rocket. Zoe moves the car out of the way, and the leftover car in pursuit is struck by the rocket. Kaboom. Bond chucks a grenade and the cars are blown to pieces. Into a factory, the car drives through a giant window. Its glass shattered. Bond pops out of the sunroof with a newfound rocket launcher. Guards all about firing with their handguns. Bond aims and fires at the lot of them. Yet another explosion, and all the guards have ceased on the account of being deceased. The BMW pulls up to the courier case behind a wall of glass. Bond slams the rocket launcher into the glass and it shatters. He picks up the case and re-enters his car. Bond. I'll take it from here, thank you. Zoe slides back into the passenger seat. A moment later, the BMW slams through another giant window. Glass shattering and a sudden explosion directly behind. But they've escaped. Page 8. Through the city, Bond drives Zoe to a rendezvous point with Q. They are just stepping out to greet him when a final enemy car pulls up from behind. Everyone turns, but it's too late. A rocket fired impacts against a nearby wall. The 3 hit the ground. One of the thugs steps over the courier case and takes it with him. Assuming the trio is dead, the car takes off. Bond and Q recover. Bond slides over to Zoe, pulling her forward for a closer look. She isn't moving now, her eyes closed. Q. She's dead, 007. M. Voiceover.
It's too late for her, Bond. But the assassin has taken the vials. Get after him.
Bond leaves Q, into the BMW again, and giving chase to the assassin. The assassin's car is dead ahead. Bond presses a button on the control station. Rockets soar from the BMW. They impact against the backside of the enemy car as it speeds ahead out of control, before slamming front first into a wall. Bond pulls up and gets out. The assassin is dead. Bond takes the courier case and departs. Elsewhere, Bond is listening to M's latest mission briefing. M. Voiceover message.
The evidence you retrieved in Hong Kong contained 9 vials of human blood samples, including photographs of the British Embassy in Romania.
Page 9. M. Voiceover message.
8 of the vials were labeled with the initials of the world's industrial nations. The last vial was marked Griffin.
An image of an old man with a white beard. M. Continued.
The computer database search turned up a man named Reginald Griffin serving as a British diplomat in Romania. Griffin's behavior has been subject of an internal Prime Minister report.
M. Continued.
He seems obsessed with protecting a secure room in the embassy, an area normally outside his jurisdiction. We want you to access Griffin's secure room and find out what he's hiding. Remember, the guards are not suspected and may not be harmed.
Q hands Bond a box from the back seat. He opens it. It's a handgun. Q. On that note, 007, I provided you with a dart gun that will tranquilize but not harm the guards. I've also added a pair of Q specs, which can be used to see hidden areas. Use wisely. Bond. But of course. Bond steps out of the car. BMW, female voice.
Self-drive engaged.
The car backs off as James advances upon the embassy. Guards are seen patrolling. Page 10. Inside, 2 guards step away from one another. Pan up to the ceiling. A rope is dropped. Bond slides down it. Down a hall, Bond aims his tranq gun. Around a corner now. Through a set of doors into a kitchen. Nobody's here. He navigates through the kitchen into another door. He peeks out to see a guard with his back turned. Bond steps out, aims his gun, and fires. A tranq dart into this man's neck. He falls over unconscious. James rushes quietly down the next hall and hops out an open window. On an outer balcony, Bond looks up and aims the Q-claw. He fires, now gliding up to the next level. James re-enters the embassy through an open window. He puts on the Q-specs and examines the area. He sees a woman getting undressed in the next room. Bond. Bond admires her for a moment. Bond turns his sights on the next wall, a secret room's entrance. He removes the Q-specs and turns a painting on the wall. The wall itself opens up. Bond enters the secret room. Bond approaches a chair. A man sits motionlessly in it. Bond turns the chair around and it's Reginald Griffin. He's dead. The sound of a pistol cock. Bond turns to Griffin with his handgun aimed at him. Griffin number 2. No, sir, your eyes don't deceive you. Page 11. Griffin number 2 continued. Unfortunately, they are the last thing you will ever see. Griffin fires. Bond dives out of the way and fires back with the Q-laser. A quick shot of Griffin being decapitated by it. Outside, a little later, Bond is in his car. M. Voiceover message.
Shocking news, 007. We've conducted tests on the man who attacked you in the embassy. He was more than just an imposter.
M. Continued.
He was an exact genetic duplicate. In short, a clone.
Bond. Interesting. M. Voiceover message.
The message you retrieved from Griffin's computer mentioned a company, Malprave Industries, based in Switzerland. A leader in bioengineering technology.
M. Continued.
Bond, your mission is to infiltrate Malprave Industries and collect any incriminating information. You'll be posing as Mr. Somerset, a journalist who has arranged an interview with the head of the company. Good luck.
Bond in Switzerland. He overlooks a mountain wall from a large window view. Attendant lady.
Mr. Somerset?
James turns to the lady and gives her a smile. Page 12. Attendant lady.
Right this way, please.
She motions him by laying out her right hand. Bond follows her into the main office and sees the lady's twin, dressed exactly as her sister, approach. Attendant lady number 2.
I'm afraid your interview with Miss Malprave has been delayed. In the meantime, you can enjoy the view.
Bond watches as they walk away, homing in on their rear ends. Bond. I already am. Bond turns to a large mural of a woman. It's likely of Malprave. Bond approaches the computer and taps at the keyboard. He looks up, putting his Q-specs on. He sees past the walls. No one is approaching the room, and it's safe to fiddle with the comp. More tapping at the keyboard. A file on the embassy. including a video. It's Malprave speaking with Griffin. Bond looks up to the mural. Malprave indeed. A moment later, the door opens. Malprave enters and scans the room. Bond is no longer there. He's in the vents, and he's entering another room quietly just as the guard leaves. The door shuts. Across the room, Bond steps lightly. He pulls out a mini camera and takes a picture of a large photograph showing a large base of operations elsewhere. A moment later, Malprave enters his room. Bond has returned to the vents. Page 13. James Bond returns to the embassy in Romania. M. Voiceover message.
Bond. Malprave is going to attempt a direct assault on the embassy. Their target is Dr. Natalia Demescu, who used to work for Malprave. She has a data chip indicating the location of something known as Poseidon. Make sure Dr. Demescu is not captured.
Bond walks along the embassy gates. A bus comes around the corner, out of control. It tips over and explodes. It slides across the street aflame as thugs sent by Malprave open fire on the embassy guards. Bond aims a golden gun at one, firing into him a few times. He drops dead. Then a second thug aims his assault rifle at Bond. Bond steps quickly aside as the bullets fly past him. Bond's return gunfire is more accurate. Another one bites the dust. Bond enters the embassy with an assault rifle. A thug rushes at him and pays the price. He's gunned down. Down another hall. Suddenly the window is blown out by an explosion. James hits the floor. A guard is shot dead by a thug entering through the hole. Bond aims the assault rifle, gunning him down. He gets up and peeks out of the hole, to the balcony, where yet another thug is climbing up the wall. James fires at him and he drops off the side screaming. Page 14. Bond steps back. Suddenly a guard wraps his arms around Bond's waist and Bond jerks himself back, pinning the guard against the wall. Bond tries to break free but is flung into the kitchen. He goes toppling over a countertop. The guard barges in and fires with his handgun blindly. Bond pops up over the counter with a pan, chucking it at the guard's hands. The gun is dropped. James glide kicks through the air, kicking the guard back against the wall. The guard comes back with his right fist flying. Bond takes the wrist and twists. A cracking sound. Bond finishes with a chop to the guard's neck. He drops unconscious. Just then, a thug slides in and punches Bond in the face. Bond stumbles back and evades another punch, then another. Bond knees the thug in the gut, takes him by the back of the shirt, slams him head first into a boiling chili pot. The guard is pulled out of the no-beam Texas-style chili, gasping in pain. Bond turns to another thug entering with a handgun. The chili-covered guard is put out ahead as a shield. He's shot multiple times and killed, while Bond is safe. Bond aims his golden gun and shoots once. A bullet directly in the thug's head drops him. Bond then drops the bullet-riddled thug's shield and sighs. Down another, quieter hall, Bond with his Q-specs. He sees a woman in hiding. Page 15. Bond enters the hideaway, stepping up to the cowering Natalia Demescu. She stands up. Bond. The name is Bond. James Bond. Demescu.
They took my data chip with the information on Poseidon.
Bond. Wait here. James exits the hideaway, into another room where a thug is firing at him with an assault rifle from above. Bond pulls his assault rifle and fires at an explosive barrel. Kaboom! This thug falls off the catwalk aflame. James breaks through a set of double doors to a helicopter pad. He watches as the getaway chopper ascends. It turns and begins to open fire. Bond runs and ducks behind a small pillar. He turns and aims his assault rifle. He empties it into the attacking chopper. The helicopter spins out of control before coming right towards Bond, to which James rushes away as fast as he can. Bond turns and crouches and witnesses the chopper slam into the embassy wall. It explodes. A moment later, Bond is looking over the remains. Dr. Demescu approaches him. Bond. What's Poseidon? Demescu.
A secret lab, Malprave. She develops clones there. I can tell you where it is.
Page 16. Bond. Why not? Demescu.
Because I don't know. The chip. We have to get it back.
Bond turns from the burning wreckage as Demescu pulls up a radar. She hands it to him. Demescu.
You see, the locator chip tells us it's not far. We've no time to lose.
Bond. Agreed. You stay. I'll go. Demescu.
Wait.
Temescu advances slowly. Soon they are embraced. They lean in for a kiss. We hold on this moment, then they unlock. Bond smirks. Temescu.
I'll wait for you.
Bond. Won't be long. Bond leaves her behind. Down the street, the BMW rides, chasing down the getaway team. Rockets fly from the BMW's launchers. One of the cars is blown apart instantly. A second car spins around and a gunner is opening fire. Bond swerves the BMW out of the way. 2 miniature miniguns pop out of the BMW's sides. They open fire and turn the remaining getaway car into scrap metal. Another opposing helicopter comes up from behind and fires hot on the BMW's heels. The BMW drives through a tunnel's arch, into a park with a big fountain and a bigger grass patch. Pedestrians are ducking and leaping away. Page 17. The BMW crosses the park as the chopper gunfire rains down behind it. Inside, Bond hits a booster button. Outside, the BMW speeds even quicker up a rampway. It crosses a wide canal, slow motion, with the helicopter blades chopping the air. The BMW smashes through a glass ceiling. The BMW is trashed. Bond gets out as the sound of the chopper remains outside and above. James turns to a tank in the far corner. He races towards it. Outside, as the chopper comes around, the tank bursts out a wall. The cannon lifts up as useless gunfire from the chopper rains down again. One blast from the tank later, and the helicopter is blown out of the sky. As it falls to fiery pieces, the tank carries on down the pavement. Inside the tank, James eyes the radar. The microchip is close. The tank turns the corner to see a parked car beside 2 more tanks under a double arch. Above the arch is a train track. The tanks fire at Bond's tank, narrowly missing. A train comes by above the enemy tanks. Bond fires a single blast from the cannon. It impacts against a fuel tank. The resulting explosion buries both tanks under rubble. Bond's tank comes up on the mess as a lone thug is stepping out with his hands up in surrender. In his right palm is the microchip. Bond hops out, walks up, and takes it from him. The thug sighs. Page 18. At a nearby hotel, Bond lies in bed with his new friend, Natalia Temescu. She's asleep after the sexy sex session they've just had. A knock at the door. Bond gets up and dresses quickly. He walks over and opens the door. There stands Zoe Nightshade. Bond. Well, well, aren't we full of surprises? Come in, I'll fix you a drink. Zoe sees Temescu still asleep on the bed. Zoe.
Am I interrupting?
Bond. On second thought. Bond takes Zoe by the arm and moves her into the bathroom. He shuts the door behind them. Bond. I seem to recall you being killed in Hong Kong, Miss Nightshade. Zoe.
James, that was a clone. Created to gain information from you about what MI6 knows about Poseidon. Then to infiltrate the CIA.
Bond. Go on. Zoe.
She was not meant to die. That rocket was meant for you.
Bond. How cruel. A beeping on Bond's watch. He looks it over. Bond. The location of Poseidon. But one thing troubles me. How can I be sure you're the genuine article? Zoe.
I intend to prove it to you.
Page 19. Bond flies via jetpack directly towards Poseidon Cloning Labs on the other side of Malprave Industries in Switzerland. Bond flies by and kicks a Malprave guard off his post. He faceplants the rocks below. Another guard turns and aims his gun, but Bond aims his pistol and fires before he can. The guard is shot dead. Bond runs along and enters the tower. He sweeps a guard off his feet and drives his fist into the guard's sternum. Now James looks to a monitor ahead of him. A woman is tied up in the corner. Bond hastily walks over and burns her locks off with his laser. Rescued lady.
Malprave's men have kidnapped the G8 leaders. She's going to substitute them with clones.
Suddenly, Nigel Block bursts through the doorway. Block. Hello, Mr. Bond. I'm Mr. Block. Bond. Good for you. Nigel charges and rips at the air as Bond moves out of his way. Bond kicks Nigel in the side. Nigel growls and backhands Bond away. Bond stumbles back and is then tackled out of the post. Onto a walkway. Bond rolls away. He gets to his feet as Block advances once more. Bond slugs him in the mouth. Block backs away as blood spills out. Nigel attempts to take Bond by the throat, but is elbowed in the stomach. Page 20. Bond uppercuts Block and he goes stumbling back with even more blood spilling out of his mouth. Block shakes it off, trying not to pass out. Block can only growl again in all his anger. Nigel tackles James, and the two go off the side. Bond's jetpack sends them spiraling from freefall to vertical ascent, but the struggle in the air leads the jetpack on the course to Malprave's main office window. In Malprave's office, Malprave herself watches as the two smash through the mural wall. The two slide across the floor as Malprave watches angrily. Malprave.
Kill him. Kill Bond.
Bond wraps his arm around Nigel's neck. Nigel. I'm trying! Bond snaps Nigel's neck and stands up. Malprave shows her teeth and grabs a gun. Bond kicks up the jetpack. He holds it now, flipping a tiny switch. Malprave.
You've interfered for the last time, Mr. Bond.
James Bond throws the beeping jetpack at her, and she fires. The jetpack, set to detonate, explodes in Malprave's face. She lets out a scream as Bond rushes to the window. He leaps out as more armed guards enter the room, ready to fire. The explosions take up the whole room as Bond lands on a getaway jet plane, flown by Agent Zoe Nightshade. They escape. The end. Brandon Noel Keith. James Bond in Nightfire 007. November 22nd, 2016. Page 1. New Year's Eve in Paris. A helicopter is flying overhead. Zoom in on James Bond sitting inside, looking out with a sniper's rifle. He touches his right ear. Bond. I need to get down there, Q. Does she have the device? Q. VO. Negative, 007. Below on a street, two cars are turning a corner, chasing a red car. In this red car, a dark-haired woman is driving, and now the chasing car's passengers open fire with automatic guns. Bond, to the pilot. Get me closer! The chopper speeds up. James looks through the sniper's scope. Now 007 is ahead of the three vehicles. Bond, to the pilot. Hold position here! The chopper holds as commanded. Bond holds too, but only for a brief moment. Now he fires. One of the two chasing cars is hit. It goes slamming into a building face and blows up. But now the remaining cars pass the chopper by. Bond, to the pilot. Head over those buildings! We'll cut them off! The pilot obeys. The helicopter flies over a series of rooftops. The red car passes a bridge. Bond aims at the pursuing car. He fires again. Its front right wheel is torn up. The gunfire from this car manages to hit the back tire of the red car in return. The helicopter descends. Bond leaps from the chopper via rope. The wild gunfire from behind is still going on. Bond. Can I offer you a lift? The woman takes Bond's hand and he pulls her up from the car. Page 2. The pursuing car slams into the back of the red car and both cars explode simultaneously. Both fiery vehicles ride off the edge of the canal. The helicopter flies away. Later, before the Eiffel Tower, two wine glasses meet. Dark-haired woman.
Happy New Year, James.
Bond. Happy New Year indeed, Dominique. The two lean in and kiss. Cut to Space by Earth. A satellite is in orbit. M. Voiceover.
Good evening, 007. A redesigned piece of missile guidance hardware intended for the orbiting U.S. space weapons platform has been stolen.
Upon a radar screen. M. Voiceover.
NATO has advised that recovery is critical. Should an unfriendly para-reverse engineer this device, the platform's global defense capabilities
M. Voiceover.
would be severely compromised.
In London, near Big Ben. Now at MI6, there's Lady M giving Bond the briefing. An image of a dark-haired man with a goatee. M.
Recent intelligence indicates Rafal Drake in the theft. Hard to believe as Drake is a respected green industrialist.
Images of a complex. M. Continued.
Whose Phoenix International dismantles obsolete atomic reactors and decommissions nuclear arsenals.
Page 3. Bond. Hope he's not prone to tantrums. We could have a real meltdown. M.
An Allied agent planted in Drake's organization reports that Alexander Mayhew, a British expatriate who heads Phoenix's Japanese branch, is en route to Drake's castle in Austria. The stolen guidance device will change hands tonight during a formal gathering at the castle.
Cut to Austrian skies. Night. A plane flies by. Inside is Bond. He's decked out in black attire, including a helmet. He pulls the visor down and it covers his face. The back end opens up for him, and he approaches it. Now he leaps from the plane. He free falls peacefully, surrounded by the dark and beautiful night sky, and as he approaches the castle, he pulls the cord on his parachute pack. Bond lands on a pillar top. It's covered in snow, as is much of the landscape. He pulls a handgun and twists the silencer on the barrel. Bond drops from the pillar top to the lower arch top. A cargo truck is coming right for him. As it passes, he leaps atop it. Keeping a careful eye for guards, James is given a ride directly to an entry of the castle. Bond leaps off the truck top and rushes for a set of steps. Up the stairs and to a door. He opens up and shoots dead a guard who turns. It happens too quickly for this guard to know what hit him. Up a spiral set of steps, up to the inner top of this tower. Another guard turns and pulls his gun. Bond ducks, evading a couple of shots. Then he rolls out and fires 2 shots into this guard's chest. He stumbles back and drops dead. Outside again, Bond is in crouch mode. He approaches a window and looks. Page 4. Bond approaches a balcony. He overlooks the party guests. He spots Zoe Nightshade with her blonde hair up in a bun, her form covered by a backless red dress. Then 007 turns his sights on the opposite balcony, where Drake is standing beside Dominique. Drake. Thank you all for accepting my invitation this evening. Your generous gifts have ensured our success in the World Refugee Fund. Everyone applauds. Drake. And now, cocktails are waiting for you in the salon. Everyone steps away, chattering amongst themselves. Dominique eyes Bond and is just beginning to step away as well. But Drake grabs her by the arm, turning her around. Drake. I have business to attend to. Play the hostess, won't you, darling? Dominique nods. Drake walks away. Back to Bond passing through the crowd. A waiter with a serving tray advances. Waiter. Can I help you, sir? Bond. Vodka martini. Bond continued. Shaken, not stirred. James moves along. In the library, Dominique waits. Bond enters, and she turns to him. She runs to him, and they embrace tightly. Dominique.
James.
They kiss, then unlock lips. Bond. You're the deep cover agent? Dominique.
Oh, it's not as deep as it looks.
They kiss again. Zoe Nightshade appears. Bond. Zoe!
Sorry to interrupt your debriefing 007.
Putting hand out.
Agent Nightshade. CIA.
Zoe and Dominique shake hands. Dominique.
Dominic Parody. French intelligence.
Zoe.
Mayhew's arrived with the stolen guidance device.
Dominique.
Drake just went to the conference room. I better get back to the party before I'm missed.
Dominique walks out. Bond looks Zoe over. Bond. Is that dress Standard Company issued? Zoe.
Don't get any ideas. 007. It's armored in all the right places.
Zoe leaves. In the conference room, Bond is quietly snapping pictures from the above balcony. Mayhew slides Drake a briefcase and opens it. Mayhew. Here we are, Mr. Drake. The guidance system we stole from the Americans. I trust this effort brings us one step closer to globalization. Drake looks it over. Drake. You saved our technicians considerable time. Drake continued. Can we accelerate the other Nightfire elements as well? Mayhew. Absolutely, sir. Well, 2 guards barge in with Zoe. Drake smirks. Zoe.
Get your hands off of me.
Guard. We caught her in the hallway. Zoe.
I was looking for the powder room.
Guard. With lockpicks and a 9mm? Zoe.
Hey, it's a tough neighborhood.
Page 6. Drake. To a larger guard. I doubt she's alone. Lock the castle down. Take her to the lift. I'll interrogate her. Drake takes the briefcase and leaves his Zoe strapped away. Bond runs down a set of steps and kicks open a door. He rushes down the hall as a guard jumps out and throws a punch at him. 007 takes the arm and twists the guard into a flip. He lands flat on his back. Bond stomps the guard's chest and runs along. At the ski lift, another door is kicked down. Bond sees Nightshade kicking a guard off the edge of the castle, to a mighty death drop. But the second guard is now trying to strangle her. Bond aims and fires. The remaining guard is shot in the head. Drake is rushing off. Bond aims for him, but is distracted by another guard approaching. Bond fires at this guard and the Drake is vanished. Zoe.
I've got the guidance device.
She holds the case with the device tight as the lift starts to move. A helicopter, flown by the large guard, is coming around the bend. It opens fire on the lift as Bond and Nightshade duck for what little cover they have. Zoe aims at a pair of guards barging out the door. She fires at them. Bond returns fire at the helicopter as the lift is moving away from the castle. Zoe shoots the two guards dead. Bond shoots the chopper and the large guard lets out a scream as fire eats its way into the cockpit. Out the window, James crawls. Zoe holds onto him tight. With his belt, they slide together away from the lift as the damaged helicopter slams into it. An explosion later, and the pair drop from the line. Bond lands atop Nightshade in the snow. They look up to see the burning debris smash down. Everything settles. Zoe.
How do you always manage to end up on top?
Page 7. Bond. A lower center of gravity? Fade to an airport. Bond and Nightshade hop into a little plane. Bond. Set course for the Swiss border. We have to get this guidance system into safe hands as soon as possible. The plane takes off. In Japan, a car pulls up to a nice home. James Bond steps out and heads for the front door. He knocks. A woman answers. Bond. The name's Bond. James Bond. She steps aside and he enters. She closes the door behind him. Alex Mayhew walks up and he shakes Bond's hand. Mayhew. Mr. Bond, this is Kiko, my bodyguard. Now then, you will escort me to safety in exchange for what I know. Bond. That's the plan. Hand out. The Nightfire data. Suddenly an alarm goes off. Kiko checks her phone. Kiko.
Looks like we have other guests. Please, stay with Alex.
Kiko steps away. Bond pulls his pistol. Mayhew. Strike! We must get to the security bunker. Mayhew guides Bond to another door. They exit the room and head down the hall. Suddenly, 4 armed guards burst through the walls. They open fire as Bond shoves Mayhew to a corner. The vases are shattered on both sides. Bond fires back. One of the guards is shot dead. Mayhew opens the nearest door and the two head into the room. Bond slams the door shut as Mayhew hides behind a counter in this big pantry. Back in the hall, the other 3 guards approach the door. They kick it down and enter. No one's in sight. They move all around, but no one is here. Outside, Bond climbs out onto the roof. He looks down into the garden to see a guard. A moment passes. The guard passes by. Bond jumps down, planting his feet into his chest. Then he opens fire once. This guard is deceased. Back inside, Bond slides the door open. The sound of the gunshot has attracted the attention of the other 3. They come around the corner and fire back. Bond dives for cover, into a bedroom. They move towards the bedroom now. They enter. Bond fires again. Another one gone. He takes another's armed hand and turns it on the other. Blam blam. Dead. The remaining guard struggles for control of the gun. Bond headbutts him. Bond has both guns and fires with both of them. This last guard is shot back out of the room. James Bond nods. At another secret door, Bond presses a button on the wall. The door slides open and Mayhew steps out of his security bunker. Bond. All clear, let's go. Mayhew follows Bond. Outside, the two are stepping up to Bond's BMW. A sniper's gunshot. Mayhew is shot in the back. Bond turns and fires up at the prone sniper. The sniper slides off the roof and lands dead on the grass. Bond hovers over Mayhew, who's dying from his gunshot. Mayhew. The Phoenix Building, in Tokyo. The code key you found in my safe. It will lead you to the Nightfire evidence. The password to the mainframe is Afterburn. Mayhew dies. Bond looks up to see Kiko approaching. Kiko.
I was pinned down. Oh no!
Bond rises and takes hold of Kiko, who's fighting back tears. Kiko.
I promise you, Drake will pay.
Bond. Kiko, you're not safe here. Leading her to his car. Come with me. He opens the door for her. He slams it shut behind her. In Tokyo, Bond drives his BMW with Kiko in the passenger seat. Kiko.
Alex's password and code key should get you into the Phoenix mainframe. But they'll have the whole place locked down by now.
Bond. Anything can be penetrated with the proper tool. Q appears at the control screen. Q. I've left you some surprises in your glove box, 007. Images of his gifts appear as he brings them up. Q. A decryptor to hack computers. And the Q worm. Plug this device in any terminal, and it allows MI6 to monitor their systems. Q disappears. The glove box opens up. 007 takes his toys as they arrive at the Phoenix building. A moment later, Bond is approaching a guard. He chops at his neck, and the guard falls into unconsciousness. Bond walks up to a locked door and pulls out his decryptor. He hacks the digilock. The door opens, and he enters the building. In the stairwell pad, he meets Dominique. Dominique.
James, it's a trap.
Bond. You don't say. Dominique.
Drake couldn't open Mayhew's safe without a password. And he's not going to let you leave with the Nightfire files.
Bond steps back and opens the door he came in. He looks out to see the guards running about. The garage he entered is locked down. He closes the door as she points to the stairwell leading up. Dominique.
Get to the helipad. It's your only way out now.
Page 10. Bond. If Drake finds you out, Dominique.
Do you think you're the only spy who I can make trust me completely?
They embrace and kiss. A moment of this, then Bond heads up the stairs to the helipad. On the helipad, Bond pulls out his decryptor and approaches a terminal. He puts it in the code and the afterburn password. He collects the Nightfire evidence. Bond heads out to an armed chopper. It fires down on him and he runs for cover. He fires back with his Uzi. The helicopter falls from the air on fire. As it crash lands, Bond is running for the edge. It explodes. Bond leaps from the explosion, free-falling for a moment, with a beautiful Tokyo view. He pulls the string on his parachute and glides down safely. Bond, via earpiece. Kiku! Kiku, where are you? No answer. Bond lands on a small car. Inside, two Tokyo girls are listening to a pop song, having a good time. Bond pokes his upside-down head from the car's roof, smiling at them through the driver's side window. Bond. Sorry to drop in on you like this, but would you ladies mind giving me a ride? The girls look at each other and can't help but giggle. On a radar screen at MI6, M.
We've decrypted the Nightfire files. They contain rather troubling data about a shut-down power plant not far from Tokyo. Phoenix Corporation has been contracted to cleanse the plant of radioactive material. We now suspect massive amounts of construction have been carried out inside the towers. Your mission is to infiltrate the plant and find out what Drake is hiding.
At the plant, Bond enters. He grapbles up a wall and enters a vent. Through this vent, he reaches the air conditioning room. Page 11. Bond drops down. He aims his Uzi at a guard walking away. The guard is shot dead. Bond moves along. Another guard comes rushing to investigate the noise. He's shot dead too. James heads down the hall and enters a room. There's protective bodysuits on the wall. He walks over and begins to suit up. A few moments later, Bond has entered a lockdown tube. Water fills the tube, and Bond breathes through the suit's helmet. The gate ahead of him slides open, and 007 swims out into a tunnel. Down the tunnel, now into a huge vertical pipe. There's an open, massive spaceship hanging vertically. Bond looks it over for a moment, then proceeds to swim to the surface. Into the big fan room. A side office is left empty. Bond slides in and pulls out the Q word. He accesses the computer and allows MI6 to monitor all incoming and outgoing activities. Then Bond packs the worm away, and steps out to a suited guard. This guard throws Bond off the edge, but the big fan below slowly blows 007 up towards the roof and a bed of spikes. The guard flips a switch and the spikes begin to turn at a more and more rapid pace. Bond is about to have a very bad day, but he aims the Uzi and fires. The guard is shot up, and so is the control panel. A series of sparks fly, and the guard falls off the rail. Slowly he descends into the dying fan. As Bond takes hold of the roof spikes, he looks down to see the guard ground up. Bond, doomed by his biggest fan. Bond climbs across the roof and exits through an opening just big enough for him. On the roof of the power plant, James takes the bodysuit and helmet off. There stands Kiku. Bond. Kiku, where have you been? Kiku.
Trying to catch up with you.
Page 12. Kiku turns and waves down a big chopper. Inside this chopper, Bond is seated, his hands together. He's looking out the window. Kiku is stepping up to him. Kiku.
You must be exhausted. James, what would you say to a little nap?
Kiku aims a trank pistol at Bond. as he turns, his eyes lighting up in confusion. A dart to the neck. Bond drops, tricked. Back at the Phoenix complex in Tokyo, Bond is seated by two guards. There's Drake pouring wine in a glass next to Dominique. Drake. I'd offer you something to eat, but why waste caviar on someone who won't live? Drake continued, long enough to enjoy it. Bond, looking back at Kiko. Give mine to Kiko. She's earned it. Drake. Don't take it personally. Women have an advantage, you see. They can blind us with love, but that's why we have other eyes to watch them. Dominique is grabbed. Dominique. Like the hidden camera on the stairwell leading to the helipad. Dominique.
I don't understand, Raphael.
Drake. Please don't insult me further. Sitting up to face her. It's a pity. I felt quite hard for you. It's about time you did the same for me. Drake kisses her on the cheek. Bond jumps up and is knocked back down via pistol whipping. Bond. Ooh! Drake. You've seen too much of my operation, Mr. Bond, but I wanted you to enjoy this moment first. Kiko guides Dominique to the edge of the building. Dominique breaks free and slaps Kiko. Page 13. Kiko kicks Dominique in the stomach. She goes soaring off the edge and screams. Bond turns over the table, swings his fist back, punching one of the guards in the face. He spins around, taking the other's auto rifle and knocking him upside the head. James Bond runs for the edge, firing at more guards as they fire back. Drake and Kiko are escaping. Another guard is shot dead as Bond rolls off the edge. James lands on an elevator roof 10 feet down. Upon impact, he rolls off to a death drop, but takes hold the edge of the elevator in the nick of time. He aims his auto rifle at the elevator window and fires. He breaks into it and hits a button. The descent to safety begins. Guards at various points open fire from the complex windows. Bond is ducking for cover as the bullets fly past him. He aims the auto rifle and fires back. 1, 2, now 3 men are shot dead. The elevator halts. Bond looks down to see Dominique's dead body. A brief expression of the anger across 007's face. Now he leaps out of the elevator and drops down upon a closed dumpster. Then he hops off the dumpster and watches as a van of 4 guards come around the corner and they fire at him. Bond fires back. The van tips over and slides into the nearest wall. It explodes as Bond enters a doorway. Down a hall and into an office. More guards are rushing in and firing almost blindly. Bond drops to a knee and fires back over the huge conference desk. 2 more down and out. Bond reloads the auto rifle. He rushes across the room to an enormous and fancy foyer. He hides behind a plant trowel. 3 more guards, armed with handguns, send their bullets his way. Bond pops up over the trowel and fires back. 2 are killed instantly. Then a car comes smashing through a window, knocking the 3rd and final guard for a loop. The car stops before James. Page 14. The car door opens. A blonde woman in the driver's seat. Blondie.
Valerie McCall, Australian Intelligence. On load to MI6.
Bond wastes no more time as more guards step into the foyer, not hesitating to shoot. The car takes off. A bit later, at sunrise, in the car, James stares out the window silently. Allura.
Q Branch has been monitoring the Tau's security system through the worm you planted. They saw you in a bit of a spot. So, here I am.
No answer from Bond.
Well, you're a talkative one, aren't you?
Bond turns to face her. Bond. Sorry, it's been a difficult evening, Miss McCall. I lost a friend. Bond turns his sights back to the window view. Allura continues to drive, now silent as well. In the South Pacific, on a giant cargo ship, a new car pops out. Q is standing beside Bond, who stands beside Allura McCall. Q. The Vanquish should provide the most discreet approach to Drake's Island. Q opens the door for McCall. She enters. 007 enters as well. Bond drives the Vanquish car off the ship and into the ocean. McCall looks out her window to see all the underwater sights. Bond pilots the subcar into a cave's tunnel. Through the tunnel and out again on the opposite side. Bond follows an enemy subcraft towards another tunnel. Through the next one, and finally past a big sunken plane which has been stuck between 2 rock walls for some time it seems. Suddenly the enemy subcraft makes a U-turn and begins to fire tiny missiles at the Vanquish. But Bond sends tiny missiles right back. The enemy subcraft is destroyed. Now the Vanquish surfaces. Page 15. James and Allura step out. They walk side by side upon the sandy beach. Then Bond turns around, hitting a switch on the small remote. They watch as the Vanquish backs up into the water for safekeeping. Bond. There's never valet parking when you need it most. Bond and McCall trek across the island, under heavy foliage. They step up to an armored van with a gun mounted on its roof. They get in. They drive off. A guard in the little outpost beside the parking spot opens the door and fires at them. The mounted gun spins around and fires back, shooting the guard back into his outpost, where he should have stayed. The armored van heads down the dirt pathway and smashes through a gate. The mounted gun opens fire upon another armored van, and 3 other guards standing by. Guard. Intruders on the base! Being shot down. All 3 guards dead. Around the corner, 007's van turns and fires once more at yet another armored van, which is firing back, and driving backwards down a bridge, which leads to an airstrip. Bond's van gun empties into the enemy. The enemy van is torn up, and it drives back over a rough spot, and slams on its rooftop. Kaboom! The van explodes as Bond's van passes by. James and Allura step out and rush towards the airstrip. They hop in a tiny plane for 2. It takes off into the air. Out of the volcano-like pit, the plane flies. Allura is piloting it while Bond mans the guns. The plane flies down into one of the island's canyons, to a big bridge, where a group of Drake's men are gathered. Bond. Steady, Miss McCall. Allura.
Right.
Bond fires down upon the gatherers. It's too late for them. Page 16. The bridge collapses in flames. Allura.
Well done.
She flies the plane up and over the ruins below, turning with the canyon, up to a tower built into the rocks. More gunners gunning at them, but 007 fires rockets at the tower. Boom! The tower explodes and collapses as the bridge did a moment ago. Now another plane is on their tail. It fires at them, and McCall maneuvers the plane as she must. Bond turns the guns around and fires back, but it too maneuvers out of harm's way. Up and over another canyon wall, over and down the other side. The enemy plane is still pursuing and still firing. Bond fires a rocket and hits a direct impact. The enemy plane blows up from above in a downward spiral. Allura flies the plane, almost skidding the surface of the river below. Then it soars back up as the fiery enemy plane lands with a splash. Up along an enormous waterfall, 007 and McCall escape this canyon. The plane dives down again upon an outpost with a big cannon. This cannon turns to face them and is fired. One of the plane's wings is blown off instantly. Allura.
We're going down.
And so they fall. But before they hit the ground, Bond empties the gun into the cannon. Bullets aplenty, as well as rockets. The cannon explodes, and the operator is set aflame and screams as he burns. Back to the plane landing roughly on a dirt patch. Bond gets out, then helps Allura out. Allura.
I promise a softer landing next time, James.
Bond. I'm counting on it, Allura. Bond and Allura walk off. They rush to the outpost. 007 gains control of 2 massive gun arms. He turns them upon a pair of enemy planes and shoots them down with the gun's arms fired. Page 17. James and Allura jump off the platform and run off as one of the 2 planes comes crashing down on the weapons pad. An explosion behind them which they narrowly miss. The other plane is seen ahead, spiraling down into the water. Splash. Bond and McCall are walking along peacefully, Allura leading James past rocks and trees and water. Allura.
You know the view here is actually quite stunning.
Bond. Staring at her bottom. Yes, indeed. The couple approach an 8-foot switch box. Allura.
A security switch box. I'll have this complex cracked wide open in a matter of minutes.
Bond. I'll scout ahead. Stay safe. Bond walks away as Allura fiddles with the security box controls. A door is opened. 007 enters an empty room. He sees rockets at another door ahead. He swiftly moves to that other door and enters the next room. 2 guards turn and are shot dead with a pistol. Bond looks over to a control station under a window. He looks down into a big room with a space rocket pointed to the skies above. There's Kiku running towards an exit to investigate the gunfire she just heard. Bond hits a button and the door closes down on her. Bond. This is for Dominique. Bond hits another switch and the rocket blasts flames which overtake Kiku, who's screaming for the last time. A moment later, Bond is suited up in astronaut attire. He's aboard a spaceship, and it's departing the island. Allura.
James, I'm losing your signal.
Page 18. The spaceship leaves Earth, into orbit, headed right for Drake's satellite. Bond. The call? Allura. Voiceover.
James, are you alright?
Bond. Just rising to the occasion? Allura. Voiceover.
James, I'm still patched to Drake's comm. I've intercepted enough radio chatter to learn that Drake's combat troops have overtaken the defense platform. The original crew seem to have been jettisoned. I can tell you that Drake's deployed a laser defense net.
Allura. Voiceover continued.
Which draws power from the platform's core. I rather enjoyed your company, James. Do be careful.
Suddenly the call's call is lost. We cut to Drake in a spacesuit of his own. From the satellite itself, he watches with a sinister delight. Drake. You've wasted your time, Mr. Bond. I've just locked the launch sequence. Nothing can stop Operation Nightfire. Not even my own death. Bond leaves his ship. Bond. That's a theory I mean to test. The missiles attached to the satellite start to move into position, slowly but surely. James glides towards them with the help of his suit's boosters. Drake. You'll make a splendid target for my laser cannon. Drake hits a big red button. Bond aims his laser rifle at one of the launch gantry's weak couplings. 007 melts the first one, causing the missile to stay put. Laser fire from the cannon, Drake spoke of. It's a narrow miss, but Bond turns and fires his rifle. The cannon is destroyed. Page 19. Bond turns his sights on the second gantry coupling. He glides over and melts it with his lasers. 2 down, 2 to go. As James moves towards the third, 3 troop members in spacesuits soar out of the satellite. They fire at James, and he fires right back. They're shot away into the black void, one by one. Now Bond advances towards his next target, another coupling melted by lasers, 1 to go. Now out of the satellite comes another 3 combat troops. Drake. Remember that view of Earth, Mr. Bond. It'll be your last. James turns from the awesome view to the 3 troops firing their lasers at him. Bond soars out of the way and fires back in his move towards the final missile. 1, 2, and finally 3 more troops sent off into the black void via laser fire. Bond then turns the laser rifle, running on empty, upon the last coupling. It's melted. 007 is successful. The empty laser rifle is let go, and Bond boosts himself over to the satellite. He enters. Inside, all is quiet. Bond makes his way from this empty place to the next empty place. The main floor is much more spacious, and a nice view of Earth, too. Bond. Let's not waste any more time, Drake. You have a date with death. Bond removes his helmet and grabs a hook pistol off the wall. But just as he does, Drake pops out of a corner, with his helmet still on. The hook pistol is dropped. Drake slams Bond against the wall and knees him in the gut. Bond. Oh! Drake throws Bond into a roll. Drake rushes forth. Bond kicks up his feet, and they're planted into Drake's faceplate. It's cracked. Drake removes his helmet, dropping it. Drake shows his teeth in anger, then pounces. Bond backhands him. Page 20. Drake goes spinning. Before he can even fully recover, Bond has tackled him to the ground. He picks Drake up and throws him. Drake's boosters kick into gear at this point. Drake is now levitating. Drake. Ha 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 ha! Nice try! Bond grabs the hook pistol and boosts himself up with his own boosters. He fires the hook pistol and it wraps around Drake's neck. The two are engaged in air, with Bond strangling Drake with the hook line. Drake tries to break free but fails. Bond. Nice view, isn't it? Drake gags with his eyes bulging out slightly as he stares at the planet ahead. Now Bond drops slowly to the floor. Drake is dead, still floating aimlessly, and turning upside down and around again slowly. Bond approaches the nearest control panel. He sees the self-destruct feature and punches in the blinking red button. Satellite. Female voice.
Self-destruct. T-1 minute.
James departs hastily. He enters his ship and returns to Earth as the satellite is destroyed. An olive in a martini glass. Back on Earth. Back on the island. In the Vanquish. On the beach. Bond and McCall seated beside one another. Allura.
Shaken, not stirred. Or is it stirred, not shaken?
Bond leans in and places his right hand on her left cheek. They kiss. Allura.
definitely stirred.
Bond. We'll let autopilot be our designated driver. Their seats lean back as the car backs up into the ocean. Allura.
Oh, James.
Fade to black. The end. Brandon Noel Keith. James Bond in Everything or Nothing, 007. November 24th, 2016. Page 1. A shot of the full moon in the starry night sky. A jet plane moves into frame, in air, and lands in the Tajikistan base near the Pamir Mountains. Pilot. Landing zone is clear for arrival. A well-armed army helicopter circles once, and lands just as the jet did. M. Voiceover.
007. Intelligence reports that a nuclear suitcase bomb, stolen from the ex-Soviet stockpile, has surfaced in Tajikistan. It's about to change hands. The wrong hands. We cannot let this happen. Recover and bring back the bomb.
A man in a fedora and glasses is followed out of the helicopter by a young lady carrying a briefcase. Across from them is the commanding officer and his soldiers. Man in fedora. 100 million, as we agreed. You have the device. Commanding officer. Of course. One of his soldiers opens up a suitcase. In it is the bomb. Through a gun scope, Bond watches the bomb exchange take place. Bond. Well, what have we here? Bond turns his scope sight to a collection of bombs across the way. He zeroes in on one of the bomb's warheads and fires a single shot. Boom, an explosion. A soldier goes flying through the air over the two crowds' heads, screaming. Man in fedora. It's a trap! Kill them! The two crowds fire upon one another, automatic guns going off, and a couple drop dead. The bomb case is dropped and sent sliding away. Bond, dressed warmly and with his face covered by some head garb, leaps over a bench. He rushes to the bomb case and picks it up, removing the head garb to reveal his face. He dives into a large gazebo. The jet lifts up, and James watches as it fires rockets at a gunman. Kaboom! Page 2. The gunman is wasted, and the jet flies out of sight. Bond leaves the gazebo area and guns down a pair of shooters with ease. Bond runs along and aims up at a gunman firing down at 007's feet. This gunman is shot out of his perch. Flash 2. Stairs. 007 heads up them to the very same perch. Suddenly, the jet re-emerges. Gunfire from the jet and all the windows shatter. Bond hits the floor and rolls out of sight. The stone walls are torn up by the heavy gunfire. Now Bond pops back out and opens fire, as rockets are sent his way. Explosions galore as the jet turns out of control. It spins around and slams into a building across from 007. One final explosion later, and Bond is overlooking the destruction. A moment later, Bond is making his way across the open base. He aims his assault rifle and fires at a gunman firing at him. The gunman perishes. James moves on with his package, out of the base and into an arriving helicopter. He enters and it takes off. At MI6 headquarters, James Bond enters M's office. She's sitting down and he approaches. Bond. M. M.
Good day, 007. Care for a drink?
Bond. If you insist. Moneypenny walks in with a tray of drinks as Bond has a seat. Bond. And how are you today, Moneypenny? Moneypenny.
My boyfriend and I were up all night rearranging the rooms. I'm a bit sore.
Bond is about to speak. M.
That'll be all, Moneypenny.
Moneypenny leaves as Bond and M sip their drinks. M.
24 hours ago, Oxford scientist Katya Ladenova was kidnapped while demonstrating top-secret nanotechnology. This tech mustn't fall into the wrong hands.
Bond. Understood. Page 3. A research facility in Egypt. A wide shot of the complex. Then we're in a room. Bond opens the door and enters this room quietly. He sneaks over and places the time bomb on the wall. He punches in 007. Then the enter key. James rushes out and hops over a rail to a lower deck. He continues running and leaps off the edge, turning, and firing his grapple gun. The time bomb goes off and he slides down the outer wall with fiery debris raining overhead. He starts hopping down and out of the way of the various explosions overtaking the tower. Gunfire from below as guards spot James, to which James fires back, still hopping down the burning tower. Finally, he makes it to the bottom. Bond detaches from the grapple line. through the glass ceiling into a little room. But now, as he's surrounded by guards aiming guns at him, he opens fire at the glass floor beneath him. Bond. Hold on to something. Everyone falls down and out of the room, all to their deaths, except for Bond, whom fires a second grapple line and swings right for a train departing from its station. He detaches from the line and turns for a brief look at the facility being destroyed from within. Flash to Bond getting inside his SUV. He takes off down a path, over a large fire, and into a factory, through a second and third fire, to the other side. The SUV smashes out of the factory through a set of doors. There's a locked gate before him now, and he sends rockets to blow it apart, and they do. A moment later, through a tunnel drive with mountain rocks all around, enemy cars ahead are firing at Bond's SUV. Bond fires back and the two cars are blown away. Following the train tracks, Bond takes a detour through a tomb. Rockets raining down, giant pillars tipping over in front of the SUV. Bond manages to evade them. Up and over a ramp, through the tiny tomb entry. Now 007 drives the SUV onto the train tracks. It gains on the train and goes directly under it as the ground provides. We follow along and watch as the SUV has plummeted to a dooming freefall, but James has boarded the train. Page 4. Through a door, 007 faces a large man who turns to him. He's got metal teeth. It's none other than Jaws himself. Jaws picks Bond up over his head. Bond. I don't suppose we could just talk about this? Bond is thrown through a glass map. He rolls to his hands and knees, now rising to his feet slowly as Jaws stomps his way over. Bond sidesteps out of the way as Jaws reaches for him. Bond elbows Jaws in the back. Jaws swings his left arm back and knocks Bond away, but Jaws catches him and throws Bond against the wall. Bond hits the ground, turning his head up in a slightly weakened state. As Jaws brings his foot down, Bond grabs his foot with both hands and shoves Jaws back into an electric field. Jaws is shocked. Bond gets up as Jaws comes lunging forth. Bond dives out of the way, and Jaws slams his head into the wall. Jaws drops unconscious. As Bond approaches, Jaws quickly swipes his arm, knocking Bond on his backside. Jaws gets back up. Bond. Playing possum, are we? Jaws brings his foot down again, but Bond rolls out of the way. He gets up and starts slugging Jaws in the ribs with a right and then a left. Another right and then another left. Jaws falls back into the electric field, only this time he stays a bit longer. Bond runs off as Jaws falls. Out a door, Bond runs. He spots Katya Nadanova chained to a rail next to a helicopter. Bond, running over to her. Dr. Nadanova! Katya.
Who are you?
Bond, breaking her locks. I'm from MI6. Katya.
The General is getting away with the nano-robots.
Another helicopter flies by and sends rockets at the track way ahead of it. The tracks are destroyed. Bond leads Katya into the chopper beside them. Inside, it starts up and takes off. The train dives off the end of the track. Smash! Page 5. Bond's helicopter flies the two of them away in pursuit of the enemy. Katya.
What's your name?
Bond. Bond. James Bond. James flies into a stone canyon, with more pillars on each side, into a giant opening, into a pyramid. Down the high-rise wall, rockets being sent back and forth from each chopper. The ruins around them are being destroyed. Through the dust and other debris, into a newly made blast hole, the two choppers enter a hall of relics, towering statues of gold and dark blue, with the bodies of men and the heads of an unknown animal. One of these statues blows up beside 007's chopper, but fails to cause any damage to it. Out of another hole, both choppers fly, out of these ruins, down to a desert river. There's a pyramid ahead, and the enemy chopper is landing now. Bond's chopper is right behind. A giant helipad lifts out of the river. The enemy has landed. 3 laser cannons at each point create a force field around the chopper as Bond circles around it for a closer look at it. Rockets sent up to 007, but he sends his own right back. While Bond evades enemy fire, Bond's rockets impact against the force field. The enemy is safe. Now Bond turns his rockets to the 3 cannons, with each one destroyed. The force field weakens, and when all 3 are gone, the force field is too. But before Bond can send another rocket, the entire helipad blows up here and there. It falls apart, and the enemy chopper is subjected to the explosions. Its fate sealed. The whole helipad tips into the deep river it came from. Elsewhere, Bond's chopper is landing at Katya's home. Katya.
Oh Oh, James, you saved my life. How can I ever repay you?
Bond. Allow me to take you to dinner next time you're in London. Katya.
I'd like that. But until then...
She leans in and they kiss for a moment. Then she leaves. Page 6. Bond's helicopter takes off. Katya goes into her home. Man in shadows. Good morning, darling. I deduced the mission was successful. Katya.
All of the nanobots were destroyed.
Katya digs into her cleavage and pulls out. Katya continued.
Except for one. My gift to you. Courtesy of MI6. And James Bond.
She throws it. He catches it, advancing. Man out of shadows. Bond? James Bond? Katya.
You know him?
Man out of shadows. He killed Max Zoan, my mentor, my teacher, my friend. Katya.
I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Man out of shadows. How ironic. Bond has now planted the seeds to his own destruction. Soon enough, the world will know and fear Nikolai Diavolo. Katya.
You'll have everything you desire.
Nikolai. Yes, Katya. Everything. Or nothing. Nikolai and Katya lean into one another for a kiss. A moment of this. At MI6 Scotland HQ, Bond enters M's office. She stands behind her desk. M.
007. Welcome back.
Bond. Nice to see you again, M. M.
Excellent work rescuing Dr. Ladenova.
The two were seated. M. continued.
However, we have a new crisis on our hands. We've lost contact with 003. He was in Peru investigating Nikolai Diavolo.
A holographic headshot of Nikolai appears between them and rotates. Bond forks at a plate of smoked salmon, taking a bite. Page 7. M.
A KGB agent so ruthless that the KGB itself tried to have him terminated. Unfortunately, they failed. Diavolo's controller, Max Zorin.
Bond. Yes, we once played bridge together. He lost. The hologram disappears. M.
We believe 003's life might be in danger.
Bond. Peru it is. M.
And don't forget to stop by Q Branch on your way out.
Flash 2, Bond entering Q Branch. There's Q with a young lady assistant. Bond. Good morning, Q. Q. 007. We have some new equipment for you. Have you met my new assistant, Miss Nagai? Bond. About to shake hands. I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Q. Knocking hand away. And you won't if I have any say in the matter. Down an elevator, Bond and Q side by side. The doors open. They step into another room. Out ahead is Miss Nagai before a bike. Q. May I introduce you to... Q continued. The Triumph Daytona 600 motorcycle. The Q bike. These are now standard issue for all 00 agents, and feature front-mounted rapid-fire rockets. There's also a weapons storage department for when things get a view of the guy's rear, up close and personal. I expect to see this returned in perfect condition, 007. James smirks. Puerto Viejo, Peru. M. Voiceover.
003's last known contact was geologist Serena Saint Germain. She's our only lead. Check 003's safe house for a clue to her location.
Bond's car drives away from a cargo plane. Page 8. Bond arrives at 003's safe house. Out of the car and inside the house he goes. A phone rings. Bond answers. Bond. Yes? Serena, voiceover.
Jack? Thank God. It's Serena. I was so worried. Meet me. I'm at the Hotel Americano.
Bond. Right. Bond hangs up. At the Hotel Americano, Bond pulls up to a woman in shorts, t-shirt, and a cap. Bond. Serena Saint Germain. I'm James Bond. You were working with a friend of mine. Serena.
Jack? So that was you on the phone?
Bond. Do you know where he is? Serena.
He went off to investigate some platinum I discovered. Near a fortress outside of town. That's the last I saw of him.
Bond. I stay for a drive. Why don't you show me the way? Serena nods. She dashes along the front of the car and gets in. The car drives off. Down a street, with a rocky hill on one side and a small town on the other. Guards' cars are just pulling in. Guard. Intruder sighted! Bond presses a button. Guns pop out from behind the headlights. As the guard cars shoot, Bond's car presses on. Gunfire back and forth. One of the guard cars is shot back into a gas station. The whole place explodes, sky high. Around the corner, the second guard car is following Bond's. But his spins around and drives backward a second. Gunfire hits the last guard car and it goes swerving off the cliff into the water below. When Bond's car spins back around, an oncoming tank fires a shot out from its cannon. A nearby stone pillar is blown down. Bond's path is blocked. His car detours over the cliff and down a smooth and sandy path, up the other side now. Page 9. At the fortress, James and Serena are crouching behind a wall. Bond peeks around the corner to see a pair of guards. Bond, take over. Bond stands, aims his silencer pistol, and fires twice. The guards drop dead. Bond runs into the fortress. In an open elevator, Bond rises to the mine's upper level, on the tracks, and down the way. A guard is coming around the corner. His eyes light up, and his right hand moves to the holstered gun. Bond fires, and his guard falls. Bond passes the corpses by, passing a couple of off-rail mining carts. There's another guard standing by. He overlooks the rocky view ahead. 007 is coming up from behind silently. The guard is strangled by fiber wire. Bond moves on. Now armed with an assault rifle, James turns to see another couple of guards. They face him and fire upon him immediately. Bond is back around the corner quickly, for cover. Now he comes back around and fires back. The two guards fall back wildly, dead. Bond races to a second elevator, but just as he presses the button for ascension, a final guard tackles him against the wall. Bond is kneed in the side, and the assault rifle is dropped. Bond is thrown back into the opposite wall and hit in the ribs. Bond. Ooh! The guard goes for another hit, but Bond takes the arm and swings him into the wall. Bond chops at the back of the guard's neck, and the guard drops to his knees. Bond snaps the guard's neck. Bond has arrived to the next level. He picks up his rifle and steps out. Out into some brick ruins. More guards ahead patrolling. Bond ducks and runs to a broken wall. He pops over the side and pulls a guard from his resting stance. This one has his throat stopped. Now Bond aims at a guard far and above him. He fires his assault rifle. The guard falls off and dies on impact. Two more guards see this. They move around and fire at Bond as he runs off again. They give chase. Through the brick walls. Bond spins around and opens fire again. They drop. Page 10. A final guard throws a grenade as Bond runs for him. The explosion sends 007 soaring forth. He hits the ground right beside this guard. He gets up and instantly backhands the guard to the ground. Now Bond enters an inner area with a piece of glass before him. 003 is tied to a chair in the room below. The guard is standing by. Nikolai walks in, unaware of 007 above. Nikolai to 003. I wonder if you regret coming here, 003. Sometimes I think MI6 assigns your numbers based on your IQ. Bond aims his pistol and fires at Nikolai, but the glass before him is bulletproof. Nikolai turns in shock, but simply grins and waves at Bond with one hand, shooting 003 with the other. Nikolai races off. Bond is running down a set of steps. The lone guard fires at him, and Bond fires back. The guard is shot back into the wall, dead. 007 approaches 003. 003. James, you must get to New Orleans. Stop him before he... 003 dies. Bond walks away, back up the stairs. As another guard comes running down, James grabs him by the neck and throws him down the stairs, aiming back and firing the shot off. Bond proceeds to the upper level and quickly dodges a punch from yet another stinking guard. Bond slugs him in the chest, then in the face. Bond twists him around by the arm to the ground. He chops at his chest, and the guard's heart stops. Bond heads up the ladder and runs to a ledge. Suddenly, a helicopter moves up into view. There's Katya Nadanova holding Serena St. Germain hostage. Bond stares. Katya.
I think she's fallen for you, James.
Katya pushes Serena out of the helicopter. Bond leaps off to catch her. They both freefall. Serena is screaming. Bond, with his arms and legs tight against his body, moves at a faster diving rate. He catches up to Serena. She holds him tightly as he fires a grappling hook to a rocky ledge. The two swing along and land safely on the bottom. Page 11. Bond. Nice to catch up with you again. The pair move along, into an open garage. The two enter a tank. Out of the fortress, the tank smashes through the gate. Firing gun trucks have no success, but they shoot anyway. Serena is driving his tank, and Bond is now popping out of the top. He takes control of the guns and fires down on the gunners. Both trucks are blown apart. Out on the street, another gun truck comes right at them, firing madly. Bond fires back and the truck explodes, popping into the air, into a flip on fire. As the tank presses forth, this truck lands on its top right on the tank's trail. Into town now, the tank they left behind is firing at them. A building beside Bond falls apart. Bond sinks back in and closes the hatch as the rubble falls. Bond takes control of the cannon within. He aims at the tank ahead and fires. The enemy tank's cannon is blown to smithereens, and now the whole thing is burning. Out of the game. Up a long set of steps, with shops on each side. Another two gun trucks come riding down. Right towards them. They're opening fire as if they'll have all the luck. Bond. Unbelievable. Serena can't help but smile. She tries not to laugh as 007 fires at them with the cannon. Both trucks are blown apart, and the tank rides over the remains. The tank finally arrives at Jack's safe house. Bond and Serena jump out. Bond. I want you to stay here and stay out of sight. Serena.
Are you coming back?
Bond. I'll be in touch. Serena looks smitten. She leans in for a kiss. He gives it to her. We hold on this for a brief moment, then Bond leaves her behind. At the cargo plane, it's taking off. Inside is James, leaving Peru. Lake Pontchartrain Bridge in New Orleans. Night. James is driving his BMW. M. Voiceover.
Bond. M here.
Page 12. M. Continued.
MI6 confirms the identity of Arkady Yakov, a fugitive war criminal sought by Interpol. Intel links Yakov with Diavolo. We believe he's involved with the missing nanotechnology. You're to meet with an NSA agent, Starling, who's been assigned to the case.
Bond continues down the bridge. At a nightclub, Bond enters to see Maya on stage, before a microphone. But now Arkady is walking up to her. Arkady. Good evening, Mr. Bond. Maya.
Uh-oh.
Maya is grabbed. Bond pulls his pistol. Bond. Let her go. Arkady. Drop your weapon. Maya shoves Arkady aside and ducks for cover as guards emerge and fire at Bond. Bond fires back, killing all three of them quickly. He dives over a piano and fires at Arkady, who runs off. More men barge in. Bond kills one while the other two snatch Maya and run off. Bond chases after them. At a graveyard, rain is sprinkling down. Bond passes through the graveyard. He's fired upon by a guard with a crossbow. Bond dives and fills him with bullets simultaneously. In the tower top, Arkady is tying Maya up by her wrists. She's hoisted up by a hook, and there's a fire raging behind her. Maya.
No.
James Bond sneaks into the room. Arkady just laughs as Maya struggles. She's slowly being pulled into the flames. Arkady. Bond presses the pistol barrel against Arkady's head. He squeezes the trigger. Arkady drops dead. Bond walks up to Maya and releases her. Bond. Sorry to keep you hanging like this. Maya.
Great timing.
Page 13. Bond and Maya arrive at Maya's place. Maya.
Thank you for saving my life.
Bond. Perhaps you can return the favor sometime. Maya.
Who's keeping score?
She kisses him on the cheek. Maya.
Come inside.
Bond follows her up the stairs. Inside, he's on the bed, and she steps up in black panties and a black bra. He sips the last of his martini, setting the glass down. She crawls atop of him, and they kiss, hands caressing their bodies. He rolls her over, now on top. She places her hands on his shoulders as they begin to make love. Time passes, a beeping on Bond's phone. Maya's asleep. 007 takes the phone and reads the text message. Bayou Plantation, it reads. Bond departs. At the Bayou Plantation, Bond watches as Katya enters the house. Armed men stand by. Suddenly, Nikolai appears in the distance. The two are leaving via helicopter. Bond. Time for a house call. Inside, Bond enters. A guard is passing by. James sneaks up behind him. The guard turns and is punched across the face. The guard drops. Bond drags the guard into the next room. He spots a computer. He walks up to it and starts typing. On screen, a video message appears. It's of Nikolai. Nikolai, on screen. Good morning, Katya. Our goal is in sight. Out of these microscopic machines, a giant empire will grow. Building on our research, we've improved the nanobots, altering their makeup with the fungal spores found only here in the Louisiana Bayou, turning what was conceived as a blessing into a curse. A mock image of a city being destroyed by nanobots. Bond, their communicator. M, we have a larger problem here than we thought. Nanobots that destroy metal. They're going to destroy the levees. Page 14. Bond, continued. Flood the city. M, voiceover.
You've got to stop at 007.
Bond, no shit. M, voiceover.
What?
Bond, you're breaking up. Gotta go, bye. Bond hangs up and turns to another guard. Guard. Now what the fuck are you doing here? Bond, I was making a sandwich. Bond knocks the guard out with a punch. Bond races out of the house to see Jaws crash through a wooden garage in a diesel. James cartwheels out of the way in the nick of time. He runs over to the Q-bike and hops on. He takes off after the diesel now, across a dirt path surrounded by thick trees, through a covered bridge and through a billboard. Bond on the bike now headed off the next street onto the freeway, in pursuit of Jaws. Weaving through the traffic, closer, faster, other motorcycles zero in on Bond, whose Q-bike is firing at them as they fire back. The bike's guns do the trick. The two bikers drop off. A third comes from the behind. Bond turns his bike to slide under Jaws' diesel, thus evading oncoming bullets. Bond spins the bike around, pulling his own pistol out of its bike compartment. He aims and fires. The last biker is shot dead in the head and goes off the bridge into the water in a fast-spinning motion. A flamethrower on the side of the Bond's bike is ignited. The diesel's left tire is destroyed. Bond rides away as the diesel and Jaws go off the side. It slams into the water below. James Bond returns to Peru. James and Serena arrive at Nikolai's place. Bond. Time to pay Diavolo a personal visit. Bond and Serena approach two of Diavolo's henchmen. Page 15. Henchman number 1. Your host would like to see you privately in his suite. Bond. And my friend? Henchman number 2. She'll be safe with us. James looks to Serena with a raised right eyebrow. She doesn't look too pleased, but remains silent. In Diavolo's suite, Bond is escorted. Nikolai. At last we meet, face to face, Mr. Bond. Sitting up from desk. I've been looking forward to this. Walking over. Ever since you killed Max Zorn. Bond, pulling his pistol. Then I assume you wish for the same fate. The two guards pull their guns now. One of them takes Bond's gun away from him. Bond. Perhaps another time. What did you do with the girl? Nikolai clicks a button on the remote. James looks to a monitor where Serena is being shoved into a secret room. Nikolai. She's being taken care of. Don't worry. We'll take care of you too. Nikolai leaves. Bond stares down the pair of gunmen. He grabs one and shoots the other, and then shoves the gun in the gunman's own face. He palms the gunman in the chest. Bang, bang. James leaves his new friends behind. In the secret room, Serena sheds a single tear. Suddenly, James comes barging in. Serena.
I thought you'd never get here.
Bond. Patience is a virtue. Let's go. They leave together. Out the doors, they see many more guards surrounding the car. Serena.
I think we're outnumbered.
Bond. But not entirely out of luck. Pulling up a remote. Forgive me, Q. James presses the button on the remote. The car blows up, giving James and Serena enough time to escape. Page 16. At Red Square. M. Voiceover.
007. Diavolo's invaded Red Square with an army of Platinum tanks and is advancing on the Kremlin. The Russian army has been mobilized, but the nanobots are eating through the tanks faster than the army can deploy them. You've got to find a way to stop him.
Bond is in Moscow, approaching Red Square. He sneaks up to a row of tanks and sees Nikolai with Katya, and Jaws as well. Katya.
The nanotechnology is destroying their weapons. The platinum has made our tanks invincible.
Nikolai. First, we take over Russia, Nikolai continued. Then we unleash our nanobots on the world. Launch the second wave! A second wave of platinum tanks leave their spots. James Bond sneaks over to one and climbs inside. A gunshot is heard. Inside, Bond has taken control of the tank and rides along with the rest of it as they approach the Kremlin. Henchman, voiceover. Racing the bomb now! Bond's tank takes a different route. He pilots the tank down a tunnel. Ahead of him is an enemy tank. 007 fires. The enemy is destroyed. Down into a lowered level, Bond spots a parked tank. Beside the Mad Bomber and his bomb. Bond's tank sends nanoshells to eat away at the bomb before it explodes. Bond also blows up the bomber's tank. The fiery debris smacks the bomber away, burning him. Up above, more platinum tanks ride on. A helicopter is flying in the giant statue of Nikolai Diablo. But just as it is put in its place, the ground beneath breaks apart. Bond's tank comes out of the ground and fires at the helicopter. It's knocked out of the sky and buried with the now shattered statue piece. The other tanks turn on Bond now, blast from their cannons, near misses. James fires back at them, naturally, and they are blown apart, just as naturally. The other pursuing tanks fall into a giant pit. Page 17. Elsewhere, a few moments later, a door slides open. 007 enters an enormous elevator, big enough for a jet to land. He scales down the way via a grappling line. He drops down and turns to Nikolai and Katya, descending on the lowering platform. Katya.
You're trapped, Bond. Surrender to me.
Nikolai. I think you'd better do as she says. Bond. Tempting, under other circumstances, definitely. Bond runs for the jet. Katya fires a rocket launcher. The rocket blows the jet apart. Bond is sent soaring back, having the wind knocked out of him. He recovers. Bond. A woman scorned. Bond fires at the two of them and they fire back, ducking for cover. Bond now sets his gun on the four brakes. All four shot apart. His platform starts to descend. Suddenly Jaws jumps from his perch, armed with a flamethrower. Flames sent from one side to the other. James dodges it, but it's still too close for comfort. Bond hides behind a piece of the jet remains as the elevator starts descending faster now. He fires at Jaws, but the metal plating on his chest deflects the bullets. Flames burn through the air towards him. Bond dives out of the way, now hiding behind the jet's burning cockpit. Bond fires again, hitting the flamethrower's back portion. The flamethrower explodes, Jaws instead of flame, and dives off the elevator's edge, never to be seen again. Suddenly, Katya is seen in the cockpit of the second jet, flying down with the opposite elevator, keeping steady. This jet fires upon 007 rapidly. Bond picks up a rocket launcher, he aims and fires. The jet stops firing and tries to evade the rocket, but it falls. The back end is blown apart. Katya tries to remain in the air, but she looks at Bond menacingly. Bond stares. Katya relaxes. She blows him a kiss just as the jet drops quickly to the bottom. It explodes. Page 18. James Bond runs to the jet's burning cockpit. He gets in. He straps in and hits a button. The ejector seat lifts him from the platform, a few seconds before it impacts against the bottom. Bond is sent soaring back to the top. Bond unstraps and gets out of the seat. He races to a door, exiting this place. A tower before him. Nikolai is turning his autoguns on Bond. Gunfire right at him, but 007 is too quick. Nikolai. I'm sending a gift to your people in London, 007. A nuclear surprise. I hope they like it. James pulls up an automatic rifle and fires at the tower. Nikolai laughs, as the tower is bulletproof. But then Bond sees a small opening. He aims steady, patiently. He even ignores the second wave of gunfire coming at him, as if he knows it'll miss him. It does, but he doesn't miss the opening. He takes the shot. Nikolai is hit in the abdomen several times. He arches back, letting out a moan of terrible pain. Bond. I hope you like that. Flash 2, Bond climbing up the tower. He enters. He shuts the nuclear launch pad down. Then he turns to Nikolai, who pulls the knife on him. Nikolai. Bastard! Bond. I know you are. Bond takes the knife. Bond drives the knife in Nikolai's side. Nikolai. Bond. But what am I? Nikolai drops dead. Moments later, we pan down in front of the Kremlin. All is well again. Serena St. Germain turns to face James. Serena.
What happened?
Bond. I won. Serena.
Anna. what about us?
Bond kisses her. A pause. Bond. Call it a hint of bigger things to come. The end.